Comfort is the silent killer. Comfort feels safe, but it is the most dangerous trap a human being can fall into. It doesn't attack you with force. It seduces you slowly, one soft choice at a time. Every time you choose the warm bed over the cold run, the snooze button over the alarm, the easy excuse over the hard truth, you are signing a contract with mediocrity without even reading the fine print. Comfort doesn't announce itself as the enemy. It disguises itself as rest, as self-care, as I deserve a break. And that's exactly why it wins. Most people don't fail because life crushed them. They fail because they let comfort slowly erode their edge until there was nothing sharp left in them. The body adapts to what you demand of it. If you demand nothing, it gives you nothing. The mind works the same way. Growth only happens outside the comfort zone, in that uncomfortable, shaky, uncertain space where your old identity dies and a new one is forged. If you want a different life, you have to become addicted to the things that scare you, not the things that soothe you. The moment you get comfortable is the moment you start losing. This is the first hard truth. Comfort isn't a reward, it's a debt collector. And one day it will come to collect everything you never became. The gap between who you are and who you could be. Inside every human being lives two versions: the person they currently are and the person they are fully capable of becoming. That gap is the most painful, most ignored truth of human existence. Most people spend their entire lives running from that gap because staring into it forces them to admit how much potential they've wasted. It's easier to blame circumstances, blame parents, blame timing, blame luck, because closing that gap requires brutal, uncomfortable honesty about your own laziness, your own fear, your own excuses. But here's the truth nobody wants to hear. That gap doesn't close with motivation, inspiration, or a good podcast. It closes with reps. Daily, unglamorous, unwitnessed reps of doing the hard thing when no one is watching and no one is clapping. The bigger the gap, the more uncomfortable the work required to close it. Most people choose to shrink their dreams instead of growing into them, because a smaller dream requires a smaller version of themselves. But greatness was never found in the shrinking. It was found in the stretching. Every single day you don't push toward that better version, the gap doesn't stay the same. It widens, and it becomes heavier to carry. The tragedy isn't dying with dreams unfulfilled. It's living decades as a shadow of what you were built to be. Nobody is coming to save you. This is the truth that breaks people the moment they hear it. And it's also the truth that sets the strongest people free. No parent, no mentor, no government, no relationship is walking through that door to rescue you from your own mind. You can wait for permission, for the right moment, for someone to believe in you first. But that wait will consume your entire life while the calendar keeps turning without asking your opinion. The people who make it aren't the ones who got saved. They're the ones who stopped waiting to be saved and became their own rescue mission. This isn't about being cold or isolated from others. It's about refusing to hand over the responsibility for your life to circumstances outside your control. Blaming your environment, your bad luck, or other people might feel justified, might even be partly true. But truth and usefulness are two different things, and blame has never built a single callus, run a single mile, or built a single business. The moment you accept that no one owes you a rescue, something shifts. You stop negotiating with your excuses and start negotiating with your effort. Self-reliance isn't a personality trait. It's a decision made repeatedly in the dark when no one is around to witness it. The armor you build alone is the only armor that never cracks under pressure because it was forged by you, for you, one hard day at a time. Pain is information, not an enemy. Society has trained people to treat pain like a warning siren to be silenced immediately. Numb it, avoid it, medicate it, distract from it. But pain, physical or mental, is simply data. It's your body and mind reporting where the weakness lives. Most people run from that report because facing it means admitting they are not as strong, as disciplined, or as prepared as they claim to be. But avoiding the data doesn't erase the weakness. It just guarantees the weakness stays hidden until it fails you at the worst possible moment. The strongest people on earth didn't get there by avoiding pain. They got there by interrogating it, sitting with the burn, the doubt, the exhaustion, and asking, what is this trying to tell me? Instead of, how do I make this stop? Emotional pain works identically. Grief, failure, rejection, embarrassment. These aren't punishments. They're diagnostic tools pointing directly at what needs to be rebuilt. The callousing of the mind happens the exact same way calluses form on hands, through repeated, controlled exposure to friction, not through avoidance of it. Every person who has ever done something extraordinary has a graveyard of pain behind them that they refuse to bury and instead turned into fuel. Pain isn't proof you're broken. It's proof you're being reshaped. And reshaping was never supposed to feel comfortable. The mirror doesn't lie. Everyone else in your life can be fooled. Your friends, your followers, your family, even your own conscious mind during the daylight hours when the noise of the world drowns out the truth. But at night, in silence, in front of that mirror, alone with yourself, nothing can be hidden. That reflection knows every promise you broke to yourself, every workout you skipped, every deadline you gave up on, every version of yourself you abandoned out of fear or laziness. Most people avoid that mirror moment entirely, filling their lives with noise, scrolling, distraction, anything to avoid the deafening silence where self-honesty lives. But the people who build unshakable character are the ones who schedule regular meetings with that mirror and demand an honest accounting every single time. This isn't about self-hatred or brutal self-punishment. It's about refusing to let yourself get away with your own lies. The world will hand out participation trophies and comforting validation, but the mirror only deals in truth. If you can't be honest with the person staring back at you, you will never be strong enough to handle the honesty required to change your life. Self-accountability isn't a one-time event. It's a brutal, daily audit. And the people who win at life are simply the ones who never stop showing up for that audit, no matter how ugly the numbers look. Discipline over motivation. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it feels like it, disappears when you need it most, and depends entirely on external circumstances. A good mood, a good song, a good speech. Discipline doesn't care about any of that. Discipline shows up in the rain, in the exhaustion, in the heartbreak, in the boredom. Especially in the boredom, because boredom is where most people quit long before failure ever gets the chance to. Waiting for motivation to act is like waiting for the ocean to be calm before learning to swim. It simply doesn't work that way. The uncomfortable truth is that most days will not feel inspired, and building an extraordinary life requires doing the work anyway, without applause, without the feeling of being ready. Discipline is a muscle built through repetition of decisions, not a personality gifted to a lucky few. Every time you do the hard thing without feeling like it, that muscle grows thicker, and eventually it becomes stronger than any obstacle placed in front of it. This is why disciplined people appear unstoppable. Not because they don't feel resistance, but because they've trained themselves to move through resistance as a default setting, not an exception. Motivation gets you started once. Discipline is what shows up on day 1000 when everyone else has quietly disappeared. Confront yourself daily until lying to yourself becomes physically uncomfortable. Discipline isn't built in the gym first. It's built in that uncomfortable, silent conversation with yourself when no one is watching and no one is clapping. The people who become unstoppable are the ones who stop negotiating with their own reflection. That's where extreme discipline is born. Not motivation, not inspiration, just raw, ugly truth. The cookie jar method. The accountability mirror. Most people lie to themselves every single day, and they don't even know they're doing it. They say, I'll start Monday. They say, I'm just tired today. They say, next time. That's not honesty. That's a coping mechanism dressed up as motivation. Extreme discipline starts with one brutal habit. Standing in front of a mirror and telling yourself the truth nobody else will. Not your friends, not your family, not the version of you that shows up on social media looking motivated. The real you. The one who skipped the workout, who quit the diet, who talked about the goal instead of chasing it. This mirror doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't accept I had a bad day. It demands results. People are shocked when they realize the biggest obstacle in their life isn't their boss, their circumstances, or their bad luck. It's the reflection staring back at them every morning. Write your goals on that mirror. Write your failures on that mirror.